Is called to order. There's been notification of the news media, and Mr. Branch, would you please have an invocation for us?
Yeah, let us pray. Lord, we just come to you today. Thank you for today, and thank you for all the blessings you've given us, Lord. Lord, we thank you for our kids. We thank you for our staff and our parents. Lord, we ask you to please continue to bless this district as we continue to give what's best for our kids, Lord. Lord, please bless this meeting tonight as we just come together and make the decisions in one accord, Lord. Lord, we ask all these things in your Son's holy name. Amen.
Amen. Before we begin, I'd like to ask Ms. Peterkin. I've got a horrible cough, and sometimes I get started just coughing, and I can't breathe. So if I just get up and walk out, you just keep on going, and when I come back, we'll swap back. Is that all right? Good. Thank you. We need approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
I have an item I'd like to move on the agenda.
All right.
Okay.
Does anyone have an extra pen? Did you have anything? All right. Thank you so much. All right, Ms. McLean.
I would move that we move the contractual matters superintendent's contract up to right before where I am on cost estimates for McCall and Clio improvement. And I can go ahead and do all that at one time.
All right, so you want to go into executive session?
No, I don't. I just want to move contractual matters of that particular item out of executive session to right before where I'm going to speak about where I want the right above where I asked for those numbers for Clio and McCall improvement.
All right, is there a second for that?
A second.
All in favor? Are there any, I'm sorry, are there any other items that people want changed on the agenda?
Madam Chair, no changes, but I'd just like to ask if we could put all the items for all the trips, planning for the kids, the basketball trip, the dance convention, the freshman academy trip to Atlanta, Georgia, all those trips be voted on as one to help speed the agenda.
No problem. All right, so I need a second, please.
A second.
All right, I'm sorry, you had already seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. And the motion's carried unanimously. Thank you. And under new business, Dr. Cobb, would you please have the cleanliness awards?
Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Tiller, the cleanliness award for the district buildings for the month of October goes to the district office. As a matter of fact, Ms. Canty was cleaning the office when I left this morning.
She just won't quit, will she?
And for the schools, the cleanliness award goes to the School of Discovery, Mr. Will Jorgensen, and the custodial staff from the School of Discovery. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cobb. Next, we need approval of minutes for October 6, 2014. Is there a motion to approve?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from October 6, 2014.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. And the motion's carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have individuals or groups who wish to appear before the board. And first is Mr. Timothy McNeil. And he wants to speak about the connector bus to Blenheim. Mr. McNeil.
Yes, sir. Thank you, board members, board chair, superintendent, community. This is my third consecutive month appearing, asking you to please begin discussion and implementation of the policy to adopt or restore the connector buses for our students being forced to Blenheim And I'm gonna be real brief because we've said a whole lot about this subject already. Just to put it in perspective, children going to Discovery spend a total of 20 minutes a day on the bus, 10 minutes from Bennettsville Intermediate, 10 minutes back. Children being bused to Blenheim are on the average of an hour to 2 hours and a half a day. And I think when we look at trying to improve education, we have to address it. So I just ask you, can we please begin looking at implementing and developing this policy that when children are forced bused, they can be provided with a school-to-school connector. Thank you.
Thank you. And next is Ms. Helen Hayes. And she wants to speak about parent involvement.
Good evening. Gracious to the board, Ms. Parsonage, the superintendent, Dr. Taylor, and all the board members and the members of the audience. I want to talk about parent involvement in our schools today. And what I want to say is, stop playing the blame game to the parents. Get active in your child's education and stop blaming the people who are trying to help them. Come out and see what's going on in the school system. And I've been here 37 years. I've seen superintendents go like flies. I had the whiplash, and then the superintendent's gone. We're not going to progress if we keep on bringing the superintendents in and getting rid of them, or they leaving. It's just like when you get started, you stop. Because every time someone new comes in, they have to get adjusted to the system. They have to learn the system first. They have to know what's going on. And we as parents, and I'm saying we as parents, we're not contributing, we're not helping, we're not coming out and asking questions. And this is the reason that we elect board members, every one of you, has a district. And when we have a problem as parents, what we should do, call your individual board member in your district. Don't bring it to the board meeting. The board meetings are for joyful situations, how our kids are improving. That's what we should be hearing at these board meetings. Not blaming anybody for not doing this and not doing that. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good to the community. That doesn't look good to other communities, and that does not look good in front of our children. What we as parents need to do is come out, get involved in our children's education. This county is not an F county. This school system is not an F school system. But until we unite and get together to try to help each other, to help our children, we're going to continue to be an F. If we keep on changing people that come to this district to try to help us, stop and go. Stop and go. If you keep on stopping and go, you never get nowhere. You have to stand still at all times. What we need to go do is roll up our sleeves, everybody, the community, roll up our sleeves and get active in our children's education. Now, we have produced brilliant people in this district. Marion Wright Elderman. She didn't come from an F district. I can name a few more people that have come through this district with education. The Cottingham family. Hugh McCall. Anybody know Hugh McCall? That was a great banker. He was a great banker, Charlotte, North Carolina. He came from this district. Marion came from this district. Jonas Kennedy, he lived in this district. He was educated with the same school system. So in the present time, why are we letting our district go down to an F? You know why? Because we're not united. We're separated. We're bickering with each other. And people might talk about the board meeting and how the board members argue amongst themselves, but policy has changed, and they're coming out in open session and discussing things that used to be in closed session. They can go back in closed session and fight like cats and dogs. But when they come out, everything is settled. That's what we need to hear. So that policy needs to be changed back to let the board members, the superintendents, go back in executive session and discuss what they have to discuss, fight amongst themselves, come out with a clear policy. That's what we need to hear. Thank you.
Thank you. Harriet Hunt, and she wants to pass out folders.
Madam Chair, Dr. Tiller, and board members, I have put together a folder, and in it I have a complaint, and I would like to pass these out and have you please take a look at them during executive session. My phone number is on the inside. I think everything in here is explanatory, but if you need any information from me, just give me a call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, individual items from members of the school board. Let's move mine down and let y'all go first. Ms. McLean, go ahead with cost estimates from oh no, you wanted to do the superintendent's contract.
Yes. Okay. As to be thorough, I have written something and I'm going to read it so I can make sure that I've included everything that needs to be said. The Marlboro County School Board has the authority and obligation to evaluate the superintendent annually as per district policy and the board's contract with the superintendent. As a board, we have failed to follow this policy and the contract as we did not conduct the superintendent's evaluation as we were supposed to. Because we have not evaluated the superintendent and because we have not notified her in any way regarding formal or official assessment of her work, the contract has automatically renewed to extend itself to 2018. I move that we direct our district attorney to prepare the superintendent's contract to reflect this automatic renewal clause within the next 7 to 10 business days for signature of either the chairperson, vice chairperson, or board secretary. I move that we remove the buyout termination clause from the superintendent's contract and that we put in place a supermajority of 6 to terminate the superintendent in the event the board decides to move in that direction. And that is in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
And with the debate, since it was your motion, you begin the debate, please.
I have no debate.
All right. Ms. Fleming? Ms. Bright?
I have nothing.
Mr. Goff?
I'll just remind that I think that one of the delays, and it's probably on the record, was at the time that we were doing budget and things like that. And if I'm not mistaken, and I could be, may not have been an open session, but the superintendent had asked for some time with a lot of the things that we had going on. But regardless, I do agree it's our job, and I think I've spoken on it previously about doing the superintendent's evaluation, and that's just kind of falling on deaf ears. But
Mr. Coachman?
Well, I agree with what Mr. Goff said. We have, this post been done ever since January of this year, and it's almost January again, so definitely something needs to be addressed and done at this point in time.
Mr. Branch?
I think we had set it up earlier in the year, and like Mr. Goff said, that was during the budget negotiations. And we as a board received a letter from Dr. Tiller, and I've got a copy of it here, which asked us to consider conducting her evaluation at a later time, which we did honor that request. So I've got a copy of this letter if anybody wants to see it. I mean, I didn't know that we had in her contract that it automatically renewed for an extra year if we didn't do it by a certain time. I just think that we need to do the evaluation.
Well, and if I may,
Mr. Goff?
when we, when we went through this process with the previous evaluation that was not on the agenda prior to the meeting and came up, we went in the back and we negotiated, and we came up with some pretty decent terms, increased the buyout from 6 months to a year, and allowed the contract extension to go through 2017, and that would be to carry through the 5-year plan. The board agreed to that. We had some real good discussion. It was a very productive meeting, and everybody came out happy. Made a few changes. I think superintendent got a vehicle during that negotiation period that was in lieu of any monetary raises at that time. I'm all for evaluations and being fair about it. I'm not for trying to beat the system. The superintendent asked in writing for the board to consider moving this to a later date. We did that. So I think, if there's any negotiation, I would just ask that that be presented to, to our attorney for review. But I would not be in favor of making changes at this juncture, especially without a formal evaluation being conducted by this board, who's, been here with the superintendent for the last almost 2 years since her last evaluation.
Ms. Peterkin?
I have nothing.
It was my understanding when Dr. Tiller requested that her evaluation be postponed, that she would bring that issue back up when she was more comfortable with having the evaluation. I think it's a bit of a foul to play this kind of a card. It's not in the spirit of open, fair government. And so I would be opposed to doing that.
May I just?
No.
When you finish, I need to speak. When you finish, I'd like to speak.
I'll be glad to go back
Okay.
around again. I think that we do need to schedule for the next month at the next regular meeting, or if you all would like to have a special call meeting to do an evaluation before we get into December, that would be appropriate now, because she has not brought up the desire to have an evaluation, and so we need to go ahead and press for that.
Ms. Parsons, if I could speak,
Dr.
please.
Tiller?
First of all, just for clarification, I did not ask for the board not to have my evaluation. What I asked is that I be given proper amount of time to pull together information to share with the board. I did pull that information together, and then once we got into the budget session, the board decided that we would hold off on it because I did have that information pulled together. And in addition to that, it's not my responsibility to remind the board repeatedly about when it's time for my evaluation. I don't have anything, as far as I'm concerned, the board, we're always bringing information to the board as it relates to what we are doing and where we are moving as a district and how we're progressing. And so the point I'm making is, at any time when the board wants me to present information, there's no secrets. Transparency has always been the case with my administration and will continue to be. And any time we're ready for me to present information of that nature, I will. I don't have a problem with that. The issue came up because of the instrument that the board decided to use. And after the board decided on an instrument, working along with Dave Duff, then I said to the board, the proper thing to do is to give me the opportunity to pull information together for the board to evaluate. And that's what I did. I did pull the information together, but it was never rescheduled.
Ms. McLean?
And I would also like to add that this is not the superintendent's motion, I made this motion as a member of the board, as is my right to do so.
Ms. Fleming? And, Ms. Bright? Mr. Goff?
No, I think we have some policy that's in place that may speak to some of these circumstances, but, you know, she has the right to make whatever motion she wants.
I have a question. Would it be a policy change which would require 2 votes to go to a difference in the way? Could you look that up? You always are quick with the iPad. Mr. Coachman, while he's doing that. Mr. Branch? Would you like to read the letter?
No, I've read it, and I think everybody else has a copy of it. I mean, I've got no problem making any kind of changes to a contract. I just feel like that in the best interest of everybody in the district and the community, I would like to see an evaluation done first. I mean, that's, you know, maybe we should have done it at an earlier date, but we didn't. I mean, it's evident we didn't. It would not take long for us to get an evaluation set up and done.
Ms. Peterkin?
If only that were true. Unfortunately, I said, you know, we've been having issues with doing an evaluation. And I'm going to go back in January, we said we wanted to do an evaluation and we agreed on the form. I wasn't here for the February meeting. I filled out the evaluation form that was given to us back in January that was supposed to go to the attorneys. What happened at that February meeting, I wasn't here for, but I know as far as I'm concerned, I filled one out. Mr. Goff said it correctly when he said that the board that has been working with Dr. Tiller needs to be the one to decide whether or not she's done what she needs to do over these past couple of years instead of a new board coming in. So, you know, to me, she's been bringing information the whole time. And we have had the responsibility and the obligation, if we did not get what we needed during this time, to bring up questions beforehand instead of to continue to hold up the process.
Would everyone be agreeable to having a called meeting next Monday?
There's a motion on the floor, Madam Chair, and a second.
And we will vote on that in a moment. I want to know first if I make an amendment, if that would be an appropriate time for everyone. All right. Let's call for the question. All in favor of the motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we'll hold for just 1 second. I want to take a look at the policy.
And I'm not
It
asking
says-
for a policy change, I'm asking for a contractual change.
The
Policy
part with
says-
the supermajority.
This is policy. The policy says the appointment of a superintendent is a major function of the board. The board may seek advice and counsel of consultants, advisory committees, district employees, or other interested individuals to assist in the selection of superintendent. However, the final selection rests solely with the board. The appointment of the superintendent be secured through an explicit contractual agreement which states the terms of the contract, general responsibilities, compensation, other benefits, evaluations, leave arrangements, and other conditions of appointment. The board considers the contract to be a public document as defined by South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. Evaluation of the superintendent. The board will make the evaluation on the basis of the board's written statements concerning the abilities needed by and the responsibilities and duties to be discharged by the superintendent. The board will give the superintendent a written opinion on his or her abilities and performance in various areas. The document will be given to the superintendent and discussed with him or her in executive session. The superintendent will be allowed to respond to the evaluation. A written summary of the evaluation and the superintendent's response will be maintained in the superintendent's personnel file. The assessment of the superintendent's performance will result in a review of his or her description and appropriate changes to it as needed. We'll also establish a foundation for identifying new priorities and objectives to be used as a basis for the next year's evaluation. The board may also consider adjustments in the superintendent's contract and rate of compensation on the basis of the evaluation. As stated in policy CBI issued 1105. So, and based on that last statement, adjustments, contract, and rate of compensation, at a minimum, I would think that we would want to consult with the attorney to make sure that, you know, that this is within, that it's proper. So I
So
would.
it's actually not a motion that I should accept?
It is a motion that you should accept, Madam Chairperson.
Not by that, we would be
No.
breaking policy to do that.
It's a motion on the floor, and it's been seconded.
It's been
I do
seconded.
have, as a member of the board, as you are, as a member of the board, I do have the right to make that motion, and we do have the right to vote on that motion as a board. No one person act as the board.
I understand that. But it's the job of the chair
To preside
follow
over the
policies.
meetings.
I understand that, but to follow the policies. And if the policy says that we have to do those things,
The policy
Based-
does not say, we failed to do
read
the
that again, please,
evaluation.
Mr. Ball?
I can read. We got a motion on the floor and a second. Can we go ahead? I'm calling the question.
Mr. Goff, would you please read that again?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, again, I would ask that we consult with our attorney on a contractual matter, and I think that as a board member, I think that I have the right before we move forward with this to
You
request
have the right not to vote on it. You have the right to vote negative, nay on it. That's what you have the right to do.
Well,
Madam Chair, he has the right to make an amendment based on the information that he has provided and to see if that amendment will pass. That, from what I heard from when he read that yes, the contract is supposed to be, changes to it, supposed to reflect from when the evaluation, but if we fail to do an evaluation on a timely manner, that is not addressed. It does not say that the contract is negated because we didn't do an evaluation like we were supposed to.
Madam Chair.
the other, hang on just a second, Mr. Coachman. The other issue that I was hoping he was looking up was in the motion that proposes a policy change.
I'm
go
not
to a
asking for a
super-
policy change.
Well, to go from a majority to a supermajority.
On the superintendent's contract only.
That's right. That's right.
On the superintendent's contract.
So,
I'm
since
asking for a
now-
contractual change.
Since now we have a majority, and you're asking in your motion for a supermajority,
For the superintendent's contract.
well, but the vote now is for a majority, not a supermajority. So if we
No,
vote
I asked,
on
no,
this,
and my motion was for a supermajority.
it was for a supermajority.
Yes, it was.
And so if you vote on this and it's a violation of policy, then I would
Then
think
we'll
that
address
it
that
would
then,
be,
but it's not a violation of policy. I can read too.
well, then I think there would be some question about whether it would be a valid vote.
Well, then that'll be a question, but right
Everyone
now I
in
can read
favor,
also.
if you'll be quiet for just a moment, everyone in favor, please raise your right hand.
Are we doing for the vote or are we doing for an amendment?
Well, there's only one
For
motion
the
on the floor.
vote.
He didn't do an amendment?
He didn't do an amendment. Everyone in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and all opposed? And so the motion
And also
to
make a
carry-
note that this was made while a board member was at the request of legal counsel on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
all right. Would you please reflect that in the minutes, Ms. Reed?
I said that it was made with my having requested the presence of legal counsel to review to make sure whether this was proper. And the vote was made in that manner, so.
Could we get on through the meeting? We've already voted to rearrange it. I thought we gave you all the time you wanted each time. All right. Is it agreeable with everyone to move the superintendent's report up to this part of the agenda?
Yeah.
All right. So without objection, then we don't have to do a vote. All right, Dr. Taylor, would you go ahead to the superintendent's report?
Thank you. Ms. Parsons, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. A few things I'd like to share up front. First, on Thursday, November 6, 2014, Northeastern Technical College held their senior visitation day for area high schools. Marlboro County High School had a record number of students to participate, a total of 251 in this particular visitation. While at the campus, students toured the facility, visited classrooms, and heard presentations from college officials and faculty. Students were also served lunch during their tour of the college. And these are some comments that we received from college officials. They said, "We look forward to your students in Marlboro County coming to the college because they're always well behaved. So much better than students that visit the college from other counties." So we're very proud of the way our students conducted themselves at the visit at Northeastern Technical College. On last Saturday, we had 53 Marlboro County High School students to take the ACT, which is the American College Testing Exam. This exam is designed to determine a student's college readiness, and we are looking forward to positive results. Also at Wallace, we've just received some great info that I want to share. And this information is coming from the National Beta Club. It says, "Dear Ms. Henson, congratulations to the National Beta sponsors and Beta students in your school for being named a National Beta School of Distinction. This national award speaks highly of your commitment to academic rigor and illustrates your dedication to preparing students for college and career readiness. The National Beta Club is the nation's largest independent, nonprofit educational youth organization. We are committed to recognizing and promoting high academic achievement, rewarding and nurturing worthy character, improving student leadership skills, and encouraging service to others. The students in your school understand the importance of these qualities and exemplify the Beta motto, 'Let us lead by serving others.' Again, congratulations by being named a National Beta School of Distinction. Please join me in congratulating Wallace. The administration will host Leadership Bennettsville on November 20th at Blenheim Elementary Middle School. Leadership Bennettsville is a once-a-month, 11-month course of what Bennettsville and Marlboro County are all about, with some serious leadership skills taught along the way. It's intensive, it's rewarding, it's an attitude changer, and we look forward to working with Mr. Ken Harmon and those on the 20th. This week we're celebrating Veterans Day, and this week our schools will be engaged in different activities in observance of Veterans Day. Believe it or not, the holiday season is almost here. And once again this year, the district is sponsoring a holiday greeting card contest for all students. Each school will select one school winner. All school winners will have the opportunity to compete at the district level for a $100 prize. Last year's contest was a huge success. Because of this success, 3 district winners were chosen. We are looking forward to the same this year. All school level winner entries will be sent to Dr. Sakeda Howell at the district office no later than Friday, November 26th. This will allow for the selection of the district winners as well as time for production and mailing. Please join me in congratulating our Lady Volleyball, Bulldog Volleyball players for finishing in 2nd place in Region 6 3A. We're very proud of our young ladies. If you didn't have an opportunity to see them play this season, you missed something really good. They did really great, and we're very proud of them. And so please join me in congratulating our volleyball team. Our mighty Bulldogs football team finished the regular season Friday, October 31st, with a 49-30 victory over the Manning Monarchs, and this gives us a record of 5-5. And I want you to know, if you didn't attend that game, you missed a good one. It was wet and soggy, but we were victorious. Our band did wonderful, as well as our football team, so we were very proud of our children. The mighty Bulldogs finished second in Region 6 AAA, and last Friday our team was victorious over Beaufort. The score was 14-13, and I'm inviting all of you to join us this Friday night as we travel to Swansea for the second round of the playoffs. So go Bulldogs. So we're excited about that. Also, the North and South All-Star selections have been made, and I'm very happy to share with you that Casey Rogers has made the North and South volleyball game. And then Tabari Hines has made the North and South football game, and London Johnson the North and South football game. So this is a great honor, and we're very proud of these athletes. I would like to share this evening with the board a copy of the district personnel handbook. This handbook includes the district's policies that govern personnel issues. And these books will also, or have also been distributed to all personnel.
Thank you.
As you know, this time of year we become very busy in the schools, in that we have a lot of activities going on, programs and concerts, and Ms. Tweed will be sending a copy, a list of those events that will be coming up to the board. The last item on the agenda that I have for this evening under the superintendent's report is a document which is a comprehensive report on the district's achievements toward meeting goals that have been established in our 5-year strategic plan. And the document, if you would, I'm going to ask my staff to pass those out to the board as well as the audience. As you know, as part of our accreditation process that we went through a couple of years ago, we were asked to establish a 5-year plan. And in that plan, we had to establish goals that would incorporate every aspect of the district. And in those goals, some of those goals we established were goals that we could meet in 1 year. Some were 2-year goals, some were 3-year goals, some are 5-year goals. Some of those things are ongoing. So what I'd like to do this evening is to share this document with the board and with the public, so you will know where we are as a district, where we started and where we are at this point. And of course, I can't get everybody to pay attention to the report, but I'm going to give it. And if you don't want to listen, it's okay. But every time we don't listen, when I inform the board of things, we miss things. So I want to just share with you that when you first look at the report on page 2 of the report, what we're sharing here is, first, I've done a letter to the community. And then we start to go into the curriculum area, and you can read the letter on your own. I will not read that to you. But in 2012, 2017, in our strategic plan, one of the goals was by 2017, 100% of students will meet their academic goals in English language arts, math, science, and social studies. And in this document, we are highlighting some of these things. Under academics, one, we were supposed to look at increasing gains on the SAT, which is the Scholastic Aptitude Test. The other one was exceed the South Carolina State's gains on American College Testing, that's the ACT, that I talked about our students took this past Saturday. Increased writing scores for grades 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the South Carolina Palmetto Assessment of State Standards. Exceeded South Carolina state averages in writing, English language arts, math, science, and social studies on the South Carolina PASS in multiple schools, and increased the graduation rate. On the next page, it continues, and we targeted increasing the percentage of students passing the HSAP, which is the High School Assessment Program, and the End of Course Examination Program. Received excellent and good growth ratings on the South Carolina State District and School Report Cards. Received the South Carolina State Award for closing the achievement gap. Increased the number of career and technical education CATE completers. Served record numbers of adult education students. We sustained after school and summer programs for a wider range of students. Established a family literacy and adult education and early childhood center. Continued long-term partnerships with the Children's Defense Fund, and served as the pilot for the early childhood freedom schools, and we've done those things. Also, scholarships and awards. Our district received a record $6 million in scholarships for graduating seniors, and we received a record excess of $30 million in grants and awards for the district in our schools. Now, if everyone would look with me, if you could go back up for a minute, Connie, thank you. Here where we have the legend, this legend outlines what the acronyms that we are using in this part of the report means. So if you see BIS, we're referring to Bennettsville Intermediate School. If you see MCSD, we're referring to the school district. If you see MEM, we're referring to McCall. So I want you to know what those mean. Now if you would scroll down, thank you. The Palmetto Gold and Silver Awards. The Palmetto Gold and Silver Awards program was established by the Education Accountability Act of 1998, Section 59, 1100. As an important part of the education accountability system in South Carolina, the awards program is designed to recognize and reward schools for attaining high levels of absolute performance, attaining high rates of growth, and making substantial progress closing the achievement gaps between disaggregated groups. And if you would look, as we start in 2009-10, we had one silver award at that time. That was at Marlboro School of Discovery. In 2010-11, we were able to garner 5 awards, because we had a gold award at Clio. We had a gold and silver awards at the School of Discovery, and also one of those was for closing the achievement gap. And at McCall, we had a silver that year, and at Wallace, we had a gold. In 2011 and 12, we had 4 silver awards for the district. 2012-13, we had 2 silver and 1 gold. 2013-14, we had 2 golds and 3 silver awards. If you would go to the next slide, please. Now, the next information that you have is dealing with the South Carolina PASS exam. And the chart represents the 2013-14 areas tested where Marlboro County School District's percent passed exceeded the South Carolina State's percent passed as measured by the SC Pass scores. And so I'd like for you to take a look at that. If you notice, the first one is Clio. The state average for writing was 78.1. Our students at Clio scored 83.3. The state average at 4th grade was 77.1. Our students at McCall Elementary Middle scored 84.3. At the state level, at the 6th grade, 74.3 is what the state average was. At Marlboro School of Discovery, our average was 85.7. At the state at 7th grade, 73.7 was the average. At the School of Discovery, we had 80.4 was our average, and at Wallace, we had 84.6. The state grade at grade 8 was 72.4, and the School of Discovery had 83.3. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but as you can look through these charts, we have a chart there. There's one on writing, English language arts, math, science, and social studies. In all those areas that you see there, our students in Marlboro County at those particular schools exceeded the state average, and we're very proud of that. If you could go to the next page, please, thank you. The next page, this one is dealing with our district testing information. If you look at the end of course, the EOCEP, that's our end of course. And with this, at the end of when our students take Algebra 1, English 1, Biology, Physical Science, and U.S. History, as soon as they take that course, at the end of that course, they have an end of course exam. And the students have to score a passing score on that end of course exam because it counts as 20% of their overall grade. So if you noticed, if you look across with me, in 2010, our kids, our average, well, kids scoring above 70, we had 61.9%. In 2011, we had 70.5%. In 2012, we had 54.2%. In 2013, 67.7%. And in 2014, we have 79%. So there we've had continuous growth, and that's what we want to see. In English language arts, we've kind of gone up and down. We've had 55.4% in 10, 51.6 in 11, 57% in 2012, 61.6 in 2013, and 53.9. But I'd like to especially call your attention to U.S. history. And if you could stroll down to U.S. history. 4 years ago, our passage student scoring above 70, we had 17.4. And if you jump over to now, we have 44.8. So we've definitely progressed from where we were 4 years ago to where we are now with the passage rate. In all subjects, 4 years ago we were at 42.7, and this year we're at 57%. Also, if you look at the end of course averages, the average scores, and this is reported in our state report cards, and it shows that on an average our kids are doing much better as far as the average scores on the end of course. In 2013 it was 73.9. In 2014 it's 76.8. That's for Algebra 1. For English 1 we had 72.5. In 2013, we have 71.9 in 2014. Biology, our score was 65.7, and in 2014, it's 71.2. U.S. history, we had 68.2, and now that average is 69.8. So as you can see, we're doing better, but we still have room for growth. When we look down at the next chart is the high school assessment program, which is HSAP. And HSAP was the exam that our high school students have to take in order to receive a high school diploma, and they had to pass in these different areas. In 2012, we had 303 students tested, and our passage rate in 2012 in English language arts was 78.6. Our passage rate in 2012-13 was 79.4, and our passage rate in 2013-14 is 80.5. So you can see we're making steady progress, and we're very proud of what our students have been able to do and gain in the area of English language arts. In the area of math, we haven't fared as well. We started with a 67.2% in 2011-12, a 64.5% in 2012-13, and a 59.6% in 2014. So this year, what we realize is math is an area that we have to continue to work on across the district. If you look down in the next chart is a Marlboro County School District profile, and the first row deals with the enrollment. In 2010, we had approximately 4,565 students, and the enrollment is as of the 45th day of school, because each year the State Department pulls data at the 45th day, at the 90th day, and then then they report those numbers back out to us. And so at the 45th day in 2010, we had 4,565 students. In 2011, 4,406. 2012, 4,317. 2013, 4,301. And in 2014, 4,289. So we're teetering around that 4,300 level as far as student population is concerned. Also, if you look at the next line, this next line is per pupil expenditure, and this outlines what we've spent as a district per pupil for the last 4 years, and you can tell that the amount has decreased from where we started in 2010 to where we are now in 2014. The other section is free and reduced lunch. In 2010, we had 80.5% eating free and reduced lunch. The next year, we had 78.6. In 2012, 76.52. In 2013, we had 83.84. And this year, we have all students are eligible for free and reduced lunch because of a program that has been put in place by the U.S. Was it Department of Agriculture? USDA. So this year, all of our students are eating free lunch and breakfast and lunch. In addition to that, if we look at the dropout rate, this is an area that we targeted in our district strategic plan that we needed to improve. In 2010, our dropout rate was 3.9. In 2011, they changed how they calculated that, and so we dropped down to a 1.8. In 2012, our dropout rate was 4.3. In 2013, our dropout rate was 3.7. In 2014, our dropout rate is 3.5, and that's what we want to see, that dropout rate gradually and decreasing. We do not want that to stay high. In addition to that, when you look at our graduation rate, in 2010, we were at 64.8%. At 2011, 61.5. At 2012, we were 64.8. At 2013, 75.3, and at 2014, we're at 78%. So our graduation rate is improving, and that's what we want to see happen. If you would look now with me in the square that talks about the American College testing, and this is the ACT. What we have is 2 scores here for you. The mean scores, the state composite for 2011-12 was 19.9, and our students were scoring 16.8. In 2012-13, the state was average composite score was 20.1, ours was 17.4. In 2013-14, the state was 20.2, ours was 17.2. When we look at the Scholastic Aptitude Test, which is also a college readiness assessment, when we look at the state in 2011-12 was 1422, our district was 1195. The next year, In 2012-13, this is when we saw quite a jump in our student scores. I think we went up, I think it was 74 points from the state was 1423 and our district was 1230. And then this past year, the state was 1429 and our district was 1146. And one thing that I'm going to say about SAT and ACT scores that everyone needs to know, how our kids fare on the SAT and ACT scores is determined by the prerequisite courses they've taken. If they've taken the proper prerequisite courses for college, then they tend to fare better. Those students that wait until the last minute, 11th grade and 12th grade, and then decide, oh, I think I'm going to go to college and I'm going to take the SAT, then they often don't do as well, and that will bring the district averages down. But we see that our students that are prepared for and have taken the proper prerequisite courses tend to do better. Okay, next page, please. Thank you. Okay, the next page is dealing with the federal report card ratings. And I'd like to start on this left side, excuse me, I guess that's the right. The board's left and everybody else is right. But anyway, the right side where it says index scores, grade, and description. This gives you a description and the ranges for what constitutes a F, a D, a C, a B, and an A. And on the other side, the district schools, I want to go through that with you. What we're shooting for here is to try to get 100% of our students to make 100% growth each year. This past year, as far as improvements from 2013, in 2014, Marlboro County School District, we went up 10.1%. Well, actually 10.1 points. And our Bennettsville Intermediate School went up 12.4 points. And then Bennettsville Primary went up 18.1. The Clio Elementary Middle School went up 17.1%, and actually points rather. And Marlboro County High School, which was a big jump for us that we're very proud of, was 36.4. And then Wallace went up 3.1%. Now when you look, can we go to the next chart, please? Thank you. When we look at the next chart here, what you're looking at is when we have schools that are combination schools, that means elementary and middle school students go to that same school. For example, like Wallace is a K through 8, Clio is a K through 8, McCall K through 8, Blenheim K through 8. Those schools receive actually 2 different ratings for that same school. So when you look at across last year, our district made on the federal report card 47.5, and this year we went up the 10.1 points, which brought us to a 52.9. So we're headed in the right direction. We have not made the mark yet, but we're moving in the right direction. And the district scores are derived from the different school scores, and the high school serves as half of the district's score as well. If you look across, and I'm looking at the elementary points, the ones that are bold means that we increased. So if you look at Blenheim Elementary Middle, we went from 23.6 to 42.8. In Bennettsville Primary, we went from 34.2 to 52.3. In Bennettsville Intermediate School, we've gone from 30 to 43.4. And then at Clio, at the elementary level, we went from 66.7 to 72.3. So those were the areas we had gains on the elementary end. If you look at McCall, we declined slightly from 75.4 to 69.9, and Wallace declined from 88.2 to 73.1. If you look at the middle grades, this is where we're having our most challenges in the district, is at the middle school level. In 2013, our school district at the middle level, we had 34.5 points And then this year we had 39.9. It's a slight increase, but the middle school, if you look, those charts up and down, you'll see that we only had increases in 1, 2, 3, 4 areas. Our greatest increase was at Wallace Elementary Middle. It's right here, where we went from 56.3% to 76.1. At the high school, last year we were at 38.2. That was our score at the high school. This year we went from 38.2 to 74.6. That means the high school went straight from an F to a C. And so we've seen some major increases there. And when we look at our overall district, our district here, again, our district scores are made up of all of these scores. And our district score went up 10.1%. So we went from 40.2 to 50.3. And then you can look at the other areas. So basically, again, most of our increases were at the high school and elementary level. We still have a lot of work to do at the middle grades. And when you look at the graph below the bar chart, it's just that same information that's in the chart above. That's what's in the bar chart as well. If we go to the next slide, please. The next slide is dealing with our state report card. As I'm sure you all know, we received 2 report cards. One is the state and the other is the federal. And our state report cards, actually our report card for this year, that information has been sent to the district, and it is still embargoed until November, is it 14th, Connie? Okay, the state report card ratings for this year have been embargoed until November 14th, but I can say that I'm sure that the board will be pleasantly surprised and pleased when we can share those scores. If we look at the district scores, at the state level, we receive 2 ratings. We get a growth rating and an absolute rating. In 2010, our growth rating was good and our absolute rating was below average. And let me call your attention to this chart first. Connie, can you scroll up a little for me, please? A little bit more. The chart, thank you. The chart that's in the right-hand lower corner gives you those different ratings and what they mean, and they're in ranked order. And so at risk is the lowest mark you can receive. Below average is the next level up. Average means that you're scoring, you're meeting the standard. That means that you're doing a good, the average means that you're doing good. You're meeting the standard. Good is you're meeting more than the standard, and excellent means that you're just off the chart. So, and we're striving to get to this excellence. Now, if you'd go back up, please. Thank you. At the top here, you can see that in 2010, our growth rating was good, but our district absolute rating was below average. In 2011, our growth rating was below average and our absolute rating was at risk. In 2012, our growth was good, our absolute was at risk. At 2013, our growth rate was excellent and our absolute rate was below average. And as I said earlier, I can't wait until November 14th so we can share our results for this year. And I'm not going to go through all of the schools' reports, but if you notice, we have 2 sets of reports. And if you could scroll up a little. Stop right there, Connie, thank you. We have elementary schools ratings, and then we have the middle school ratings. So those schools, again, they receive 2 report cards. If you would, look at the bottom of that first chart, and I'll look at Wallace. For example, because I want to make sure everybody knows how to read this. The growth rating at Wallace, for example, in 2010, their growth was excellent. In 2011, it was average. 2012, it was excellent. And last year, it was average. And then if you look down, and that's the growth, and that's dealing with the elementary school. But then when you look down at Wallace and we look at the middle school, is in blue. The middle school in 2010 was below average. 2011, it was average. 2012 got a good rating, and in 2013, it was below. So you can see that these schools will receive 2 ratings, and the explanation of those ratings and what they mean, they're all located on that page for you. The next section of the report deals with adult education. And one of our goals in adult education was to continue as the primary educational providers serving Marlboro County's 17 years of age and older students without a South Carolina high school diploma. And we have really increased the number of students receiving GEDs or high school diplomas. If you look at the chart here, it shows you that in 2010-11, we had 55.7% receiving the GED. In 2012, we had 60.5. In 2013-14, we had 57.1. And in 2013-14, we had 64.7. In addition to that, one big area that we have been working on is called Work Keys. And the Work Keys Readiness Exam is an exam that business and industry is requiring for students or individuals to have, whether they're high school students or adults, to have to enter the workforce. And they want them to have a Work Keys score in order for them to employ them. And to date, we have, this past year, we administered 185 Work Key exams, and our kids, we had 75 to score bronze, which is the lower level. We had 98 students to score silver. We had 12 to score gold. And of course, with bronze, silver, and gold and platinum comes money. And Mr. Gould, if you would, could you just share with us what some of these salaries that our students can gain based on these ratings?
Good evening. Most of the students that score in the silver, gold, and platinum area are quickly employed by our local industry. Most of our local industry, like Mohawk Carpet, Duntar, and other areas in Scotland, Dillon, as well as Marlboro County, will quickly employ those students with a high school diploma, GED, or a Work Key certificate. Those salaries actually come from the silver area, which most of our students score in. They could readily start out in the 25,000 on up. Those gold certificates, students who receive those are state career readiness certificates. Those students who are employed in those areas, you will find some of those students receiving in that 30,000 area once they reach those qualifications. Platinums, we're fortunate to have at least 2 since we've had the program. Those students did not stay on the job market at all. They were quickly employed in our local industries. So the Work Keys area is an area, and what we try to do is make sure that those students, once they finish our program, they finish with 2 certifications, either a high school diploma or a GED, and a Work Keys readiness certificate. And it's pretty well, if you score in that silver, gold area, you're pretty well guaranteed employment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gould. If we could move over to human resources. When I started with the district back in 2009-10, we were really in trouble as a district. And let me just share this. The goal, can you go back up, Connie? The goal in our strategic plan reads, the percentage of all core academic subject area classes taught by teachers who have highly qualified status as defined by No Child Left Behind in the appropriate content areas and level will increase from 88% in 2012 to 100% by 2013 and maintain until 2017. So that's our goal, and that's what we're shooting for. And if you look at this chart, in this bar graph, in 2008-09, the district was at 86.2% with having highly qualified and certified teachers. The next year in 2009-10, we were at 85.1%. In 2010-11, we were at 87.7. At 2011-13, 89.6. At 2012-13, 94.6. And at 2013-14, we're at 93.2. And I'd like to show you the next chart on the next page. This chart deals with, this is the report that we received straight from the State Department of Ed, and it talks about our accreditation, and they determine whether we are accredited based on if we have the highly qualified and certified teachers teaching in the right area. The lowest, can you go up a little bit, Connie? If I want to go over these first. If you look at the bottom, what you want to have always is all clear. And all clear indicates that a district meets the standard prescribed by the State Board of Education for a defined minimum program. And then the next level, which is still a good level, is advised. And that means that we are meeting the standards, but we have some things that we can clear up easily. And then warned status is when you're starting to get into some real trouble, because then it indicates that a district's educational program is failing to meet one or more of the accreditation standards. Probation, as you know, that means you're really having some problems. And the last one is dropped, and you never want your district to be dropped, because if it's dropped, that means that what we're providing to our students, it doesn't meet standard and it doesn't amount to anything. So if you go back to the top, and this is the graph, this is the actual report from the State Department. In 2009-10, when I came on board, we were here. We were warned, and we were on probation. We had one clear area that was at Bennettsville Primary. The next year, 2010-11, if you see, we had all clear, 2 advised, and 1 warned. At 2011-12, we had all clear and 1 advised. 2012-13, we have 3 advised and all the others are clear. And at 2013-14, we also had 3 advised. And so, but if you look across the district, at the district, we went from warned to clear, clear, advised to clear. So that's where we want to stay as a district. And I wanted to take a minute just to thank my staff. I want you to know that we've worked very hard to bring highly qualified and certified teachers to Marlboro County and to try to maintain them so we can maintain our accreditation and make sure that the education that our children are receiving is as it should be. Another goal that we had dealt with school safety in our strategic plan, ensuring a safe and healthy environment by maintaining a 100% implementation of all local and state federal safety requirements through 2017. And some of the activities that we have undertaken to meet those goals: one, we've established crisis management teams in all schools. We've installed cameras in all schools and on all of our buses. We've implemented visitor entry protocols in all schools and district facilities. We've established routines for ongoing safety drills such as fire, tornado, armed intruder, and school-wide lockdown drills. And last year, we had the opportunity not only to work along with our state, our local police department and our sheriff's department, but also SLED came in and also worked with us on training in those areas. We've also trained our teachers and staff in the OVEAS bullying prevention program. We've established stranger danger procedures for our younger kids. We've enhanced character education instruction. We've updated our crisis management plan. And I welcome anyone at any time who would like to take a look at that. And we are also working on establishing reunification sites in preparation of crisis management boxes at all district facilities. And I want to talk just a minute about the reunification sites so everyone knows what we're talking about. In the event that we have an emergency and we have to move children away from whatever campus they're on, then we have to have a place to take them. And so what we've done in every area in our county, we've established a reunification area. And so parents would know if something occurs and we have to move students away from that campus, where they could retrieve their children. And for example, here at the high school, if we had to move the kids off the high school because of some crisis away from this campus, they would go to the community center. And so we have been working on agreements with not only the community center, but some of the churches and other entities to help us with this. So in the event that we ever have to move children off campus, which last year we did, we had a bomb threat one evening, and we had to move kids away, and we did move them to the community center. And also we had a bomb threat over at the School of Discovery, and we moved all those kids quickly from School of Discovery to Clio. So those things are very important. We're working all the time to make sure that we are improving security and safety for our students. The next area is technology, and I'm not going to go through all of these things, but I will just say that 100% of classroom teachers will use telecommunications and technology to support teaching, learning, and school district operations as determined by the district technology plan. We do have a technology plan, and we have done a lot of upgrading. We've added over 300 network connections to the district network. We've increased our bandwidth. We've replaced the Power School server. We've installed smart boards in most of our schools now, and we're really excited about that. We've added over 400 tablets that our kids are using. In addition to that, we've provided professional development opportunities for district personnel in the effective use of the technology. Having the technology is great, but if you don't know how to use it, then it's not so great. So I'm not going to read all of these under technology, but you can see that we've been very busy in that area as well. Under administrative services, in our strategic plan, one goal was the average percentage of parents reporting satisfaction with school climate. And when you talk about school climate, we're referring to social and the physical environment of the school will increase to 98% in 2017 as measured by the School Report Card Parent Survey. And I'm going to talk about some of the things that we've done as far as safety. We've installed cameras and buzzer access entry systems at all school and district facilities. And if you look at the picture here, that's at the district office. And as you notice, this person is buzzing in. That's one of the measures that we've taken at all of our schools to increase safety. Also, we've replaced the intercom system at Bennettsville Primary and also at the intermediate schools. Those systems were antiquated and we had to replace them because they couldn't be repaired. And also, you can look at some of the other things that we've done, and I won't read all of those. But when you look down at the chart, this chart is dealing with the percentage of parents satisfied with social and physical environment of schools as reported on the individual South Carolina State School Report Cards. And each year, parents are asked to fill these surveys out by the state. We have to administer these. And you can look across and look at the results from elementary parents at each school and the results from the middle school parents at each school. And to date, we're at 77.4 is where we are presently. We have not received the data for 2013-14 yet, but that's the rate. And also at the middle school level, it's also 77.4 as a district. So again, the goal is to get to 98%. And if you look at some of these, at some points, it was 63%, sometimes it was 56%. So we want to make sure that these continue to move forward. Another part of the goal was for us to update our transportation fleet because we were having problems with our activity buses being about 20 years old and breaking down on our students. And we have acquired 4 new activity buses. We do have a picture of one of them there, and also a utility truck that we have are using to move equipment and stuff in the district when we need to do that. And also we've acquired a bus notification system, which is Bus Bulletin, to notify parents when buses are late and delayed. Also under administrative services, if you could turn over to the next page. Our goal here was by 2017 we would improve the condition of our facilities through capital improvement, engagement of a highly qualified maintenance team, and appropriate preservation initiatives. And I won't read all these, but you can look over them yourselves. These are activities toward meeting this goal that we've been engaged in as far as renovations of our facilities. We've renovated most of the classrooms at Marlboro County High School with new tile, and we've also replaced the carpet because some of the carpet in this building has been in this building since the building was built. And so we have been working strategically to replace that carpet. The next areas that we're working on is to replace the carpet here in the media center, the band room, and the chorus room. And so those are some of the areas here in the high school where we've replaced. We've also completed extensive painting all around the district facilities, and I know that everyone has been able to see that. We hired the board hired an architectural and engineering firm for small projects. We've also acquired a school identification sign for Blenheim Elementary Middle School, and we have that sign. We have not installed the sign yet because we're not sure about where the sports fields are going to go yet. And soon as that decision is made, we will have the sign installed. We also created or installed a car loop over at Bennettsville Intermediate School, and this was to help with the traffic off of 9 actually, right, off of Highway 9. And we've also renovated the Marlboro County High School football field and field house drainage system. We're also working on completing a press box here at the high school for our softball fields. We've added a 720 square feet to our bus office, and our bus drivers are much appreciative of that. I want the board to know they're not standing outside in the cold now between routes. They can go inside because it's large enough now. In addition to that, at Bennettsville Intermediate School, a couple of years ago, we spent a lot of time on renovating the media center. We had all the air ducts and filters cleaned. We also took up the carpet, and we did painting and just a total overhaul in there, as well as the gym over at the intermediate school. And our next project there hopefully will be the auditorium. In new construction, we've been able to complete the second phase of the construction of the Cloud Elementary Middle School. That gym area we've completed in the last 4 years. We've also completed Blenheim Elementary Middle School, and we've also initiated construction for the Wallace project. And for those of you who have not seen the pictures of what that new project should look like, that's it right there on your right. In finance, our strategic goal was by 2017 we would improve the school district's resources of time, expertise, and finances by performing measures in conjunction with the annual financial audit. management letter, and insight reporting. And I'm happy to report that from 2010 to 2014, we've received clean, unqualified audits. And that's where we want to be. And we've also received favorable comments from auditors, and that means that we're handling the money of the district in appropriate manners. We've also improved financial controls, and we've put a process in place to safeguard the district's financial assets. When I came on board, only 2 people had to sign off when things were ordered. The principal would sign off, and then it would go to a person at the district office, and they would sign off, and that was it. Well, now it's no longer like that. We have a program, a person who's responsible for each one of those programs. Then we have a compliance person, and then it goes to finance, and then it comes to the superintendent. So we have a lot of checks and balances in place that have helped us to gain those clear audits and clean audits. So we're happy about that. We also were very happy about the fact that we were able to work to have the bond referendum passed for the penny sales tax, and also for the new school in Wallace. That's another area that we've been able to achieve. In addition to that, I'd like to point your attention to also this chart in the middle here in green. Despite our budgets increasing, the local portion of and percentage decreasing. So in other words, what we have been able, as far as the tax, the millage rate has remained the same over these years. And also we've had declines in our state and federal monies. But we've also been able to do a lot of things because my staff and I have worked very hard, and our principals and teachers, in garnering grants. And if you'd go to the next page, please. If you look at the back of your report, we've received the following grants. $7 million in promoting excellence for all kids. This is the PEAK grant that we share with East Baton Rouge, Louisiana Parish to enhance student achievement, and this is how we've been able to provide after-school programs. We received a $400,000 shared Bill and Melinda Gates Professional Development Grant for Blenheim's faculty that we're using now. We've received $84,000 from the Marlboro Marlboro Education Drives a Generation of Excellence, which is EDGE. And this grant assisted with our students being able to visit all the colleges and universities they went to last year that I shared with the board. They were able to go to Clemson, to University of South Carolina, also to Benedict, South Carolina State, Francis Marion University, Coker College, and I think I probably missed a few, but we were able to take not only seniors, but 9th through 12th graders for these visitations. We also received a $50,000 Marlboro EDGE grant to assist students with tuition costs at Northeastern Technical College. We received $78,678 from NetLead grant for mentoring and assisting our principals, and this was with Winthrop University. We received a $190,000 matching grant for paving the parking lots at our schools. We also received a $100,000 sidewalk, curb, and gutter project grant. We received a $150,000 grant from the U.S. Department of Energy to replace the old and inefficient heating air units. We received $50,000 for playground equipment, and we received that grant from the United States Department of Agriculture, and we used that money to help with the playgrounds up at Blenheim. We also received a $1.2 million E-rate grant for technology upgrades. When we talked about expanding our bandwidth and things of that nature, that's what we've been able to do with some of those funds. We also have received our individual schools and division grants from donors such as Walmart, Supplemental Nutrition, Assistance Program, which is SNAP, Net Lead, Arts and Education, 21st Century, Donors Choice Organization, Baldor, Lowe's, Toolbox for Education, Harbor Freight, Duke Energy Progress, Adopt a Classroom Organization, and the American Red Cross, for a total of $147,171. And we received a $5.4 million for the Teacher Incentive Fund program. This is the TIF grant, and this is to fund the System for Teacher and Student Achievement, which is the TAP grant. So one of the goals that I shared with the board that I would do coming on board was to go after grants and garner grants for our district, and I have done that. And I'm very proud of what we've been able to do, because we've been able to provide opportunities for our kids that we did not have local dollars to provide. So I'm happy about that. And I think one of our biggest accomplishments since I've been on board is advanced ed accreditation. In 2012, the Marlboro County School District successfully became fully accredited by the Advanced Education Association. And you know, without accreditation, the diplomas that we offer would mean nothing. So I want to thank the board for allowing me to share my report early, and I thank Ms. Parsons for that. I think it's important that our community be well equipped and understand what we have accomplished in the last 4 years. We do still have work to do, but we've come a long way in 4 years. And I think that this board, I'm very proud of what we've done, and I think you should be proud of it as well, because you are my bosses. I take my direction from you, and we have done an excellent job in spite of some of the turbulence that we've had along the way. So I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. I'm proud of our staff, our teachers, and I'm especially proud of our parents that have stood by us, and also of our students. Our students are excellent. Don't let anyone ever tell you anything different. And I'm also very proud of our staff and the professionals that we've been able to assemble to help us move our district forward. And that completes my report for this evening, and I thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
I have a comment.
Beg your pardon?
I got a comment. Before we move on to the next thing, I have a comment.
Ms. Peterkin.
All right, thank you. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Tiller for not only sharing this report, but for being an excellent leader. Our district has come a long way, and sometimes we forget what our district was like, and we forget the importance of having stable leadership and somebody that has the mindset and the vision to move us forward, to go out and to find the resources that we have. And I will say that I am blessed and I'm proud to have worked with Dr. Taylor. And even though my role is going to change, I will continue to work with her and fight for the best in Marlboro County. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Ms. Peterkin. Next,